My name is Mario Leo. I'm the CEO, founder and general manager of Result Sports. I have the pleasure to welcome you all and moderate you throughout the day today. It's my first time, so I apologize that moderation is not my forte. I usually do presentations on digital marketing, and hopefully we're going to have some exciting times in the morning, and then with HPC Nantes, bonjour, Gael, and Tom this afternoon to really get your day working. You've traveled from far and close. Glad you really made it for today, and thank you for Maya and Jakub for the organization. It's been a great pleasure to work with you in the preparations to the day. But with no further ado, I really want to get the day started before I bore you with PowerPoint for an hour and a half, I guess. But I really want to make it an interactive session because we have a lot of generations in here already. And especially the younger ones, they really change their behavior in communications, and the digital marketing activities are really crucial. So that's what I will focus on, and we will spend on it. But without further ado, I welcome Stanislav Nikolov, who is our host today, and give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Dear volleyball friends, dear colleagues, on behalf of Bulgarian Volleyball Federation, I would like to welcome in Bulgaria the President of European Volleyball Confederation, Mr. Alexander Borisic, Cup Commission President, Mr. Roman Stanislavov, CEV officials, lecturers, and all the participants in these prestigious CEV events, annual seminar for supervisors and clubs in Sofia. I wish you good running in the seminar and success for forthcoming CEV Champions League. Thank you.
Alexander Borisic, please, your welcoming notes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank to Bulgarian Volleyball Federation for good organization and for good hospitality. This is not first time, and why CIV board made decision to come again, because if something is good, we don't like to change. Thank you very much, and please, you can generally, on the behalf of all volleyball family, I like to wish to Bulgarian Volleyball Federation good organization in World Championship, and of course, good result. Thank you very much for your support. But also, I like to thanks to all of you, especially to representatives of the clubs, supervisors, for your decision to be today with us, because we like to improve many things. And also I like to thanks Stanislav Roman, President of Cup Commission, and all members of Cup Commission for the really good work last season. First time I like to come to seminar to make small information to all of you, how it's important to improve our work together, all of us, to change something, but first of all, to change real mentality. In the past, I don't like to say now is not such important which part of our organization made a very good solidarity between them, but was not good for volleyball. Now we like to serve, all of us, we must serve our sport, lovely sport, volleyball. And if you like to change something, this is the only way how we can make something much bigger, especially in Champions League. We have only two good products for the market. All the other is very good for us, but only for the volleyball activities. And we must combine. Champions League, it's one, maybe our best product. And we must improve many things. First of all, we like to, in this moment, we have very good relation with FIB. We are almost like partners. And also we learn. We took many points, many good points when they organized first time VNL. Partly I was involved, but many our people was involved. And we like to take, to implement in Champions League for this year some, normally we cannot make the same. We don't like, first of all, to make a copy, but we like to make the best ever European Champions League. And we need, first of all, your help. It means that if you are somewhere, please not to be friends. We are all friends. But if you come, you know that players in the two teams also is friend, but they like to make a fight for the who is better. And also we like to, we are on the podium now with handball, with basketball, with some and other sports, and it's very difficult for many clubs to make a budget, to improve something, and to make to make a new investment, how we can promote. And first of all, you must take care that clubs must work much more stronger to promote our events. We like to check Cup Commission. Now have the new ideas also that before when we started some matches, we need information how clubs promote competition. This is number one. Number two, we are ready in any moment to help to all of you. If you have some ideas, new ideas, please in any moment send to Cup Commission. We like real to listen. We organized forum this year. First time was more than 100 people. And we changed something. But normally that normal life of company or family, every time coming something new, especially now we have new technology, in any moment, please send inform to Cup Commission or directly to our department in Luxembourg. We like to start to study and we like to inform you. I hope that next season could be much better because I'm very happy that I can inform you that in EuroLeague, first time we got a very, very good relation with many broadcasting companies. Before our federation had a problem even to come to national broadcasting company. Now they supported not only in own country, they supported also many matches outside of the country. It's the new first good step, but I hope that through Champions League we can improve many things. I wish you a very positive season. First of all, health, not to make many problems with you when you start to travel to the many countries, but I hope that at the end of the season we must be much more happy than we are today. Thank you very much for your coming.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for your kind words. Without further ado, I will hand over to Roman for his welcoming words.
Good morning, dear Mr. President, dear colleagues, dear club representatives. Let me welcome to annual seminar of clubs and supervisors, the participant of the most prestigious European World Cup tournament, the European Champions League. Alexander, Mr. Boricic explained us that it's really main tournament for us in the club competition in Europe. I believe in the world. From this year, we decided to hold general seminar for all supervisors, for the newcomers and those having some experience. And club also, it's the first time. And unfortunately, several of our colleagues are absent, but they have a good reason, and they are not the beginners. They have some experience, and I would like to underline once again that it's important to meeting together. That's especially holding meeting together with the clubs. This year, thank you for support, Mr. President, that we have holding 2-day seminars, and yesterday my colleague from CEV CAPS Commission and from CEV and have already held seminar for new supervisors and for new clubs. And we would like to get the basic knowledge and step-by-step recommendation for the match before today's seminars. It was a basic yesterday. Now that's today during the day. It's the first time for us. We will present with information from our friends and from the organization with experience in marketing, branding, attracting views. This information is really necessary and interesting for organizers and supervisors. I believe it. I'm sure you will be able to learn a lot of, and you can use this knowledge for the future. That's his event. It's really like, I understand it's not the match. It's each match of the Champions League is the event, for me. And I believe for you that's all the same. This should be event for everyone. First of all, for spectators, teams and sponsors. And at the end of today's work, you will have an opportunity to ask a question to the speakers of the 2-day seminar, including me. I think that afternoon. And it's very important you understand that we, like our president already said, we're a big family. We all work to the development of volleyball. The task of supervisors is to help clubs, federation, organizers to raise the tournament with the CEV to a new level. This is the main task. We need to show that supervisor is not a person who controls and penalizes only, but the person who in the first place helped to organize it to competition as successful as possible. He should not indicate the mistake after the match, but he should rather correct and give advice before the match and during the match, in order to avoid any problems. How we see the work in the supervisor as a future, it represents our opinion. Firstly, as a person who loves volleyball, understands the games, and is not obligatory in the former player or referee. Secondly, this person should arrive if it's possible, 2 days before the competition, depending on format of tournament, of course, and he should immediately involve organization of the event, a meeting with organization committee, with the leadership of the city, in the playing hall, TV, press. The main attention should be the paid advertisement in the city, on TV, radio, around the hall, schools, public place. That's most important for us. How is the ticket sale organized? How many fans are expected for the match? Is there any social program to attract children or young volleyball players? That can be done, and how to help in these matters before the match. What entertainment program? DJs. What else offered to the fan? Additional volleyball match, souvenirs, food. The second question is safety. It's very important now. And only third, the technical inspection, the whole building hotels. Summarize, match organization, advertising. 1 day, 2 days before the match, if it's possible to help. To find a solution with a sponsor, with the organization, with the leadership of the city. Safety is a technical question, is the third one. The mission of the club is even more difficult. You are the main creators of the event. And it depends only your work, imagination and energy, how event you will go on. During these days, you will receive a lot of information, recommendation and advices for successful event. I would like to take up much time, so let me give you some advice and wishes, which I consider very important. First, I would like to ask you, who is the main participant of the event? For me, and I think for all of you, without spectators, any excellent organization will not be able to create an atmosphere of festival. Spectators, it's the main participant in our event. All we do, I do it only for the audience. Without spectators, our work does not make any sense. Second, try to position the spectator as close to the court as possible. As much closer as possible, right behind the advertising board. In the best place. And it's not place for the press. It's not place for the staff, club, or statistic. This family places for children, for sponsors, for fan zone, for those who emotionally experience and support your favorite team. Really support. And third one, explain to the players and coaches that they are playing for the spectators. And the more they give autographs, selfies, and interview after the match, the more popular their work becomes. And therefore their well-being. Be sure to determine before the match special zone where the fan will be able to touch and communicate with their heroes. That's most important. Okay, once again, I would like to thank you, Federation of Bulgaria. Thank you very much for your support and assistance in organizing the seminar. Mr. President, for opportunity to hold such meeting during 2 days. And I know that it's very expensive, but thank you very much for your support. And of course, the participants and organizers. I wish you successful work at the seminar. And remember, we are one volleyball family. Let's help each other. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much for the opening words. Now it's time for me to share with you basically my work and our work and how digital and digital media can really help you emphasize your activities. We have already heard, volleyball is one family. On the court, we compete, but in digital, we are united. We have to create a movement. Digital is not about creating requirements of TV. It's an add-on. In digital, there's no, let's say, audience where you say, I'm a border sports, I'm a small sports. In digital, you don't have those. Digital allows you to monitor each click of the individual. Digital allows you to really transport that movement of volleyball into the world. So 2 slides just to explain to you my work and what we've been doing in the past. Since 2009, since my company was organized, we only do digital media in sports. We translate, we transport your messages to the world. We don't work with sponsors. We don't work with brands and products. We only work with athletes. We only work with clubs, leagues, and federations to facilitate their needs. We know budget constraints. We know challenges you might have with resources, that one person in your club, in your organization, wears multiple hats and has to do multiple tasks during an event. But don't underestimate the person in the media and communications department and his power to work, translate, engage with the fans, to transport your atmosphere in the arena into the community of volleyball. It's a real key task. So we've worked with platforms, we work with Facebook, with Instagram, we work with the platforms directly. We engage with them, they tell us when algorithms change, because it's all about algorithms, it's about data, it's about maths, and all this we've worked on. So we've started to monitor it since 2010. We transported ourselves into marketing, and yes, you can also earn money through content distribution, through content monetization. And that's what I try to explain to you in the next hour, an hour and a half, and we try to really make it interactive. So my company really does monitoring, as I mentioned, since 2010. We work with it, and we then obviously host events and we create publications to share the experiences. As I mentioned, on the court you compete, but in digital you're united, and that's the key message to target your audience in the area. And then digital marketing and digital monetization, as I mentioned. We work with a lot of football clubs. We also work with a lot of handball clubs. We work with basketball, and of course we work with volleyball. Usually in Germany, before the season starts, we gather with the Bundesliga and give a workshop 3 to 4 hours to all the teams, males and females, to really help them prepare for the season. Matthias from Berlin Recycling Volleys is here. On Tuesday we meet again because we usually meet to see what improvements can be made, to see the challenges. So therefore I hope to understand all your challenges throughout your season, but also in the off season. Yeah? Volleyball is now 365 days present, yeah? With beach volleyball, with the in arenas and outside. You have the opportunity. Many others don't have. Just imagine ice hockey. Yeah? The season ends in May and then restarts in October. They have 5 months break where there's no ice in the arenas, and they still have to communicate with their audience, and they still have to maintain their engagement with the audience. And that's something I really want to transition, and because how to convert those digital fans into spectators into the arena, that's the most challenging part, because that's where you differentiate yourself as a club from others. So I split it into 3 parts. I created sort of the starting point, which is the majority of the presentation. It's going to be on the digital sports evolution overall, the challenges you face, but look at the opportunities. The glass is always easy to say it's half empty, but it's half full. That's the opportunity. You have to go forward. You have to move forward. And obviously, the challenges I want to start with. Most of you obviously have a website. Yeah? That's the starting point of the digital presence, yeah? Of the federation, of a league, of a club. And that's a really long time already in place. But then, obviously, in 2000, the mobile phone arrived. And since 2005, the mobile operators do everything possible that every 2 to 3 years we change to a new device. We get a new handphone. It's subsidized. We always have access to new technology, which evolves. And the challenge with mobile, it changed our lives. And it especially changes our children's life. It's so hard now to tell my 15-year-old son to stop using his mobile phone while we have dinner. It's hard, yeah? And it's very, very, very critical. And for my son, it's very hard if he has to watch a 20-minute video and it's not entertaining the first minute. Our children have a 20-second moment where they say, in the first 20 seconds where they make the decision, is this video interesting or not? After 20 seconds, if it's not interesting, they allow us another 10 seconds to play them content. But after 30 seconds, they switch to the next video. And that's the challenge with the mobile phone. TV, linear TV, is becoming secondary. Yeah, I watch myself. We have a criminal series every Sunday evening in Germany on TV. At 8:15 it starts, it goes to 9:45. But at 8:25, the murder has happened, and then the investigation starts. But my investigation is on the mobile phone. And I watch how this communication of the community is working on this series, because there are 5-6 million people who watch the series as well. But they also engage with the mobile phone. And if something happens then, if a shot appears on the TV, my eyes go up and I look up and I see something happening, but I go back to the mobile device. And that has really changed our lives tremendously. And then in 2010, 2011, 2012, Mark Zuckerberg and all the mobile and all the social media platforms have changed our lives again. They created something. And in 2012, the mobile phone and the social networks, they married with Instagram. And Instagram is really a platform where it's only possible to do on the mobile phone. And in the future, maybe in 3-4 years, the only thing we have is mobile devices in our hands. And we work with it, we live with it, and that's how it translates. And the change for you as a club and for you as league and federations is obviously more imminent. And I left it sort of with this slide. Yeah, you build a website is a very large investment into an organization. It costs 10,000, usually 12,000 euros to really have a very, very good presentable website. But the cycle of change, that's what it means actually here, the cycle of change is happening every season now. You need every season modify your website, and it's a budget and it's a cost which you have to factor in. And mobile is also changing all the time. Obviously now we have with Android and with Apple's some strong mobile operators and mobile operating systems which sort of try to create a standard, but that's really a challenge around. And in social media, there are so many platforms. Which platform is the right one to choose? Where should I be present? Where should I focus on? And that's where I want to really look at, because we always have to look into the fan eyes, into the spectator eyes, because that's the key message. And the platform evolution is, where's your content happening? And very often we see clubs using one piece of picture and one text and try to distribute it across all the channels. But just imagine your fan, or just imagine our eyes. They see it on the website, they see it on the mobile app or the mobile website, they see it on Facebook, they see it on Twitter, the same message, the same picture, and it's kind of boring. And we give them the choice where to put on, and social media is just not social media. That's the platforms I've decided here. The green ones are the most in use. It's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's Twitter, and it's YouTube. Those are the 4 main platforms. They're really the highlight platforms. The red ones are dying ones, yeah, with Vine, Periscope, Google+, and Foursquare. And then you have the yellow ones with Instagram Live, Facebook Live, Instagram Stories, Snapchat, all these messages, all these tones. For some of you it might be new, but for me it's day-to-day business. And I need to focus, because that's my focus. Where do I reach the fan? And what does the fan want on content? And each platform is different. And if you look into your fan perspective, it's also very important to see, if you go live as a club from an event and you try to transport the arena atmosphere into the digital media, where does the fan know where you go live? Do you go live on YouTube? Do you go live on your website? Do you go Facebook Live? Do you go Instagram Live? So you have to create roles for those platforms. And they are all external platforms. They don't belong to us. They change the rules. They change the algorithms. They control who we see and who will see them or not. And that's something we really have to focus on. So we have to make use of those platforms, and the use of those platforms is giving them roles, what they have to fulfill. Because a website is a one-way road. I go in, I hope to find the information, what I'm looking for, and then I go out again. It's just like driving a car. In social media, it's just like a highway. I go onto the highway, I have 5, 6, 7 roads I can choose on, and really go onto the fast lane, which is Facebook and Instagram, or go the slow lane, which are other platforms, and I have to decide for those in these areas. So that's a really key task. And the audience evolution cycle has been pretty much developed the same way, yeah? Because the website was the main focus point where information could be found. And in handball, Gail will know, THW Kiel, which is a leading German club, they had the worst possible website ever, because they say, I put everything on the starting page. A starting page was 25 pages long. You scrolled like 5 minutes, because they said, my fans, they don't go into a second layer or third layer of the website. They want to see everything on the starting page, which is crazy, because it was not really user-friendly. They've modified it, but they know their audience. They knew that information was supposed to be found very, very easily. And then, obviously, from the main audience channel, it has become just a primary choice until 2016. And now, it's just an interest channel, where people go who have an interest to look for something. And mobile has been an interest channel. People were looking for us on the mobile device, where to find content. And so was social media. It was an interest channel, but it has changed. And it's become their primary channel of source of information. And they try to help you by liking, by commenting, and by sharing your information to overcome these algorithm deficiencies. And so has our content, which we placed out, or you have placed out. Yeah? Initially, it was fine just to broadcast information, to share the audience what's happening at the event, what's happening at your arena, what's happening throughout the week. Then we optimized it, because we realized the people want more. They want more information. They want more. They want to be entertained. So we created infotainment. But now the next challenge, which I see, and that's why I lost all my hair, for example, is WhatsApp. Yeah? Messenger platforms. People want personal information. Yeah, we have 20,000 Facebook fans, and 20,000 individual messages are very, very hard to get out to the audience. They want personally to be introduced. But also, reach is struggling. And the platforms, because of the changes, they close our reach. But we also want to monetize it, because the arenas are monetized, the broadcasters monetize, the sponsors want to go digital, because they have one challenge, the sponsors and brands. They use volleyball, they use all sports to emotionalize and create or approach your passionate audience. And they want to differentiate themselves from just pricing, because sponsors really go into it. And suddenly digital becomes really the central element of everything, because ticketing wants to go in digital and sell tickets, Merchandising wants to go in digital and sell merchandise. Marketing and sponsors want to be present on digital channels, and media and communications are in digital channels. So your fans in this evolution, they expect always exclusive information. Just imagine, in the past, and we only talk 15 years ago, the 8 o'clock news in all the countries around Europe and around the world were the main source of information. Today, we have a saturation, an overflow of news throughout the day because of the mobile device, because of the social network. And that's why we want to hear it, and in English there's a saying, we hear it from the horse's mouth, which means I want to hear it from the origin. I want to hear it from the source. And the source are you, the clubs, the league, the federations. And you might as well see sometimes a little competition with your players, because they obviously have an own agenda in their digital presentation. But these are the advisors. These are the young audience looking forward to, especially the youngsters in the academies. They look to the stars and see how they're going and how they're evolving. And they all know digital. They all position themselves. They are ambassadors and the spearhead of the communication. So with digital, you always, without logging into Facebook, without having a Facebook account, if you know the URL of HPC Nantes and you type in facebook.com/HPC Nantes, you have access to all the postings HPC Nantes posted on Facebook. You don't need an account. So when they press like, they like you, there's an interest of the audience with your club. It's a sympathy, but initially it's just an interest, and you have to cluster it the way them wants. So it becomes a value community. The value of the community is the core, because then obviously the information come out. They want to be part of your club. They want to participate in competitions. And the competitions might be that they sit on the sofa next to the playing court and have the best view in the house. And these seats are very limited because there are only 3 or 5 on the sofa and there's only one first row. So these competitions, they can be very, very exciting and can be very, very attractive, because they need to be, today in 2018, where social media is 8 years old, they should not be win a ticket or win a signed ball or win a signed jersey, because people go to the shop and buy it and go after the match to the players and let it signed. So it's nothing special anymore. But unique is that seat, front row, on the court, next to the pitch, and see all the actions. That's something I can't buy. And that attracts a lot of people to participate in the games and competitions you, as a club and as a league, obviously offer, or as a competition. And obviously, from the player perspective, they want to see how the player trains. You cannot imagine Cristiano Ronaldo having 270 million social media followers when he sits up at the morning at 7:30 and makes a Facebook Live video and put his sit-ups to the audience, to his 270 million people. How many people follow? We work with Juventus, and basically they had an average of 3 million interactions on all their postings on Facebook in a month on average. The first month Cristiano Ronaldo was there, they had 82 million interactions on their Facebook channel. It's the stars, and the players are your stars, and the players are your dynamos in the positioning of digital media around the world. So, but these fans, they are vocal. Yeah, they want to criticize if we lose a game, and we have to struggle sometimes with losing games and communicate with it. But they want to praise, they want to discuss, they want to be here, they want to stand out of the bigger crowd. That's the objective of a fan. That's why he follows on social media. That's why he out himself as a fan of our club, league, or institution. So the challenge the clubs face today is, of course, we are a sports organization. Yeah? We are a sports club. Sports is the highlight. But with every posting I plan on Facebook, I put on the website, I have to think like a media organization. With every product I offer, tickets or merchandise, I have to think like a trading organization. And Amazon has been the master of it, because they are so good that when you visit the first time Amazon and you look for a product, it's always discounted. And in Germany, we have a tendency to compare pricing because we sort of don't want to overspend. So we go to a pricing comparison site, And then we go back to Amazon. Oh, and it changed. The price went up, and the number of available items were down. They're limited. So we go back to the comparison side, because we're Germans, we want to make it sure that we don't make any mistakes. And we give Amazon a last choice, and it's back to the original price, and it's only 5 items left, and they take off our brain and go to the stomach, and we press buy, and we have it the next day. Convenience. It's that what the digital platforms bring us, convenience. We don't have to move away from our living room to shop, to enjoy football, basketball, volleyball. Convenience is something really, really hard in our life, and it's changing. So we have to think like these organizations to persuade. And you prove it, you travel to a different place, it's possible. Yeah, so our children, they select the universities in Europe where they think they can be educated best. They're leaving countries. Something unthinkable 20 years ago. People move abroad, people move left and right. The European legislation, yeah, the power, the freedom of Europe is really there for us to select the place where we want to live, to select the place where we want to work, and go out and about. But we still keep in our heart our local club, our local traditions, our local habits. It's the European thinking, and that's why it's so unique and so special. So we have to think on the logistics side that we have to bring our products to our generations, to our children when they study in England, or study in Germany, or study in Italy. They want to wear our jersey, they want to wear the home jersey. And digital allows that because they're connected, just like they would sit next door to watch live tickers, to watch the live events, to follow us. And that's why digital, all departments in your organization have a task. They fulfill it. And the transformation challenge you have, and the majority of statements I hear are the followings. I don't have resources. Sorry, I can't do it. I'm result-driven. If I lose, I don't want to post because my audience gives me a hard time. Don't, yeah? Don't think like that. I don't have time. Don't think like that. It's the player demanding. So your media officer is working with the media, but then a player comes and saying, can you give me 5 pictures for my social media profiles? Immediately you put the attention and give it to him because he multiplies your messages. You focus on him. You give him the audience. Cross-department processes are challenging, yeah? Because I give you an example. When Eintracht Frankfurt, a Bundesliga club in football, they play, I think, away today. Oh, sorry, they play at home. They played last week in Freiburg, the first match of the season. They won 2-0. And immediately with this winning post, they gave the audience the emphasis, we only have 2,000 seats left for next week's home game. Buy quick. And the fans bought it within an hour. The tickets were sold out because the fans were positive mood. Yeah, we won. They were linked to the right link to the ticketing site, and immediately within an hour the tickets were sold. So the positive attitude of the fan was attracted. Amazon thinking, yeah, I used that momentum. So, and ticketing obviously was ready with the link when this happens. And they were also ready that they wouldn't be part of it if they would lose. So short-term changes and requests coming in. And most of our time, budget. Yeah? Budget constraints, budget constraints, budget constraints. Don't think like that. Use digital as really an opportunity in the overall evolution. The next challenge in a club and in an institution is merchandising is earning money because they sell merchandise. Marketing is earning money because they work with partners and sponsors. Ticketing earns money because they sell tickets. And media and communication is red. Why? Because it's a cost center. It costs money because we communicate only. And it costs money to liaise with the media. But in majority, and especially in volleyball, digital resides in media communications. So you don't grow digital because you don't invest into the resources of digital. And that's a challenge, and it's a circle. And I try to explain and give you ideas of how to succeed. So this is the only slide, which is the worst possible slide. And I really apologize, but this is the most important slide, because this is your organization. This is the club. So I'll just take the microphone and lead you through it for just a minute. What is it including? So this is the digital transformation happening in your organization. It all starts here with your target audience, who you already have on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, on the individual platforms, which age groups, which region engagement, which platform, which gender, are they domestic, are they international? Everything you can get out of the database of Google Analytics, of Facebook, of Twitter, you can know everything about your target audience. And that's a key starting point, because then you look into the content. What is of interest for the audience? Where do they engage most? On which platform is the most reaching? I have to monitor it very often. And then the next step going back to the audience is, do the fans like if I present a sponsor there, or are they annoyed about it? Because it's sometimes, and especially in football, if you have a very strong ultra, the hardcore fan base, they hate commercialization of their sports. It's really the biggest hate. It's the evil that could be. But if the sponsor is integrated into the team lineup, the sponsor A presents the team lineup of today, or sponsor B presents the final score, fans don't hate it, because they want to see who is playing today, and they want to know the score if they haven't been to the match. So you have to be smart, and you have to work it in correlation with all that. And then obviously, in the club media department, that's you, who is responsible for the media part. How many resources do you have? What is my objective? What processes do I have in place? And most of all, do I have any social guidelines? Because every staff in the organization can really help emphasize, multiply the message around in the activities of digital. So what you need to do is, you need to create a digital objective. And you start with a vision. And a vision in digital is, where do I want to be as a club in 2 years from now? Because 2 years you can forecast the technology. 2 years are often the contracts of the players, very often. 2 years is the environment, multi-year agreement, tenancy agreement with your arenas. Everything is plannable and forecastable in 2 years. So you create a vision where you want to be. And then you define a mission, and the mission is every quarter. Where do I have to be every quarter going backwards from 2 years that I can measure myself on the mission? And I think Gail on HBC Nantes will really share the vision of Nantes and the execution, which is really great, because you can see the success with the highlight last year, and I was in Cologne giving to Helmut Höritsch and the Competiers Academy Network the seminar also on digital. So you can see it happening, and you need it. And as a president standing in front of a club, you need to lead by example. There are setbacks, as there are in life all the time, but you have to overall focus on the vision, which is really great. The strategy which you execute your mission towards the mission is, what do you do day to day? And the goal is, what do you want to achieve? That's where you measure yourself. So these are just some examples. Where do I want to be in 2 years as an organization? Where do I want to be in 2 years with the competition? When I go out in the first round, obviously in 2 years from now, I want to reach the quarterfinals. That's a goal, that's a vision. So I have to prepare everything to reach those. Where do I want to be offline, and where do I want to be online? Where do I want to be domestic, or do I want to be internationally known? That's something really great. And you obviously focus on fans and spectators, and create awareness, reputation, and that's the key. So coming to part 2 now is the digital content and audience activation part, which is really the strategy of everything. So this is basically the user experience. What do I offer them? What is my brand strategy? How do I go out? How do I measure? And those are all the tasks. So just to start, just some numbers on digital around the world. So we have 7.6 billion people overall in the world, which is the left-hand side slide. 54% are already connected on the internet. And moreoverly, obviously, on the right-hand side, if you look that here, 5 million are on their mobile device. Africa will not put copper wires or fiber optics into the earth. These countries, these regions, they evolve basically on mobile, yeah, on frequency. They will just explore. They are hungry for knowledge. They are hungry for quality of life. They are hungry for the next step. And those are the audience. The frightening part for the older generation in the room is really on the very right. 3 billion people using social media on the mobile phone every day. That's kind of scary. But that's the world, how it really has become. And this is the opportunity which is out there for you. Yeah? So these are the majority of platforms in use for sports organizations. So we have 1.2 billion Facebook users. And the way Facebook describes those is that a user has to be online for 5 minutes in one session to be calculated as an active user. So 5 minutes, one session. So you place your post, you look what your friends do, you chat shortly, and off you go. That's counted as one session. And you have obviously Instagram, which is only mobile phone, and you have Twitter. There's so many things. You've got Pinterest, and people smile at me at Pinterest, but volleyball has a very large female community and a very large female audience. And Pinterest, the user is 99.9 female. So if I want to engage the female, I might consider a Pinterest presence because it really helps me. So before coming here, and I apologize this being a bit small, I did research because you don't need to spend money on Nielsen, on market researchers to say, what is the interest of volleyball in my country? Just go to this really evil advertisement manager of Facebook and take the session and go, I want to analyze brand awareness. I want to see how many people are active. And then you can see, and I go up again because I can read it, but overall I start with the next one, is 41 million Europeans say they have an interest in volleyball. So they either like a page, they engage with posting of the page, or they really are sharing your content. And then we get into the individual sort of hardcore volleyball countries in Europe, which is Poland. Yeah, 2.4 million Polish people say, I'm interested in volleyball. In Russia, 5.7 million. And in Italy is 6.2 million. So without spending a single euro on market research, I have a vision. Yeah? I want to reach the volleyball interest people in the country, and as a CEV, I want to reach the volleyball interested people in Europe. So we compare where we are now with our Facebook community, and in 2 years with the possibly 41 million Facebook community. That also considers, obviously, where you want to go with the evolution of your sport. Yeah? Because you can see that Facebook, Amazon, and all the others, they start to purchase picture rights or they broadcasting rights because they see an interest. And very early at the moment, they not go towards football because it's so expensive. So they grab broadcasting rights from other sports. In India, they broadcast cricket. In Australia, they broadcast Aussie rules football. And I urge the board and the president to look out into the digital platform channels because your audience is there. Yeah? And just imagine the Champions League final being watched by 40 million Europeans on a Facebook Live session. That's something to look out for. Might not happen next year, might not happen the year after, but it's possibly the future. And we have to consider those. Yeah? These are the opportunities. And this is just basic research on it. So very often marketeers come to you and saying, we need to have a brand identity. I know Tom is talking about it. I challenge him a little bit with this slide because the fan, what he sees and what he experiences is first just an image. Are they winners? Are they losers? Are they good? Are they bad? They just have an image of it. And our goal and our objective is, as a club or sports organization, to have a positive image, a positive contribution, to have a positive movement, to have a unity amongst the volleyball family. That's something we want to really engage with. And that's the basic starting point. I have to be relevant in the communication. I have to develop a strategy to be relevant. And then I look into the experience what the fan experiences with the content I distribute? How does he engage with it? And then I look into the personalization start, and then obviously I have a community of values as the targeting goal, where everybody is identified. So that needs a social media objective. The mission statement possibly as the best example. I want to grow my profile and I want to maintain reach. I want to be engaged and interactive, and this is the most important because my communications department is a cost center, I want to generate revenue that I can grow my department. I want to grow my organization. And that's the real key value of it. And it's just like, as you can see, as it described, it's just like a target map. Yeah, it's like a hit map. And obviously you want the bullet in the middle. Yeah, you want to hit the middle that you can generate revenue of it. And that will take a little bit of time. But with a clear strategy and clear objective, it is possible. And I know Matthias from Berlin Recycling Volley, they generate marginal revenue already on their digital content which they create and put out. So operational perspective, you see the same kind of slide because obviously I want to use that, and it's literally the right mix. That's the key. Yeah, platforms are different. In the past, just about a year and a half ago, I constantly said that Twitter, if you have a message to me and you can't say it in 140 characters, the message is not interesting. Now, obviously, they changed and they increased it to 280 because we want to read a little bit more and just not want to have acronyms and shortcuts all the time. But messages get shorter. That's the key. Messages get shorter. And don't underestimate media companies and publishers because they have their own agenda. And we actually in Germany at the moment have pretty much the hardest time we ever had since the reunification. Because media through digital have lost a big part of their revenue generation. They don't sell their hard copies of products anymore. People go digital. So what is the media's response to it is their headlines change. Headlines become bigger, kind of. Yeah. So there was always capital letters now anymore. If there's an important message, it's capital letters and not normal letters. But also the tonality has changed. And we, as a recipient, as a reader, we at the moment sort of cross the border between populism and racism. And it's sort of sliding in between. But media wants to be populistic because they want to have our attention, because they want they want us to buy their products. And that's a huge change all around Europe and all around the world, because media is to maintain their position of power, because social media brings the news to us very early, very quickly, much faster. But social media has also some trolls, I call them, yeah, where in the past you always had one person in the small town who always complained and who always was negative and who always was whinging and saying, well, this is bad and this is ugly and this is terrible. Social media has also given them a platform to come together. So there are more people now trolling around, infecting us with bad messages. But we are much more. Yeah? We are much, much more than them. We have to go back to values. And the values of our country, the values of our personality, respect, attention, these becoming more and more important. And we have to go back to the roots because of digital, because of the overflow of information. This is really critical because our children determine their future on it. And this is really, really, really something crazy, because our kids, they coordinate their homework in WhatsApp groups. Oh, I didn't understand question B on page 41, and then he immediately gets help. They democratize on WhatsApp because they use the technology for them. And if we limit them, we also limit their ability. So if my son, who played football yesterday, if he wouldn't be part of the WhatsApp group, if I would tell him don't go Facebook or don't go WhatsApp, he wouldn't know where is his meeting point for the game, because the coaches don't call everyone anymore. They use the technology to tell them. So we have to use the technology really to make use for all of us. And the platforms of those they have really different values. So media, again, I'm coming back and finding the turf because it is really, really a tough choice. They're obviously losing readers because we have access through digital on all the news. And they obviously go more to work with attention-grabbing headlines to focus on that. So we have the choice as a club or as an institution to either follow them, yeah, and be happy, and we make a yes or a goal with 25 goals or a point and set win, those things, or we just become rudimentary. Yeah, we just become stable and be part of an anchor and have lighthouses. Those things which need to change because digital is the way we go. And I'm very sure that many of you who work with media and reporters have the experience that the journalist calls on Sunday evening at 10 o'clock and saying, sorry, Red Star Belgrade just won in Salzburg. I need to cut your article by half because I need to bring more football, because that's what the people's interest. And then you say, okay, yeah, you've got no choice because you want to keep your job. So it's really troublesome. That's why it's so important to have a digital strategy in your activation. Yeah, don't rely on media because media goes their own way. They focus on their own way. Focus on your own strength. Focus on the unity of volleyball. I think that will be a winner. And obviously 41 million Europeans and growing in the future, hopefully. That's an audience which is out there. That's an audience which you should really grab and focus on. So the way we work is sort of the starting point is because the website is becoming less and less visited because the people make use of social media and use of mobile phone. So most of the clubs around Europe, they really struggle to have a frequently high website traffic. So we give the role of the website needs to change. We give it a primary purpose and we give it a primary audience. And we give it obviously the content which should be out there. And look at your website as your overall digital archive of everything what you have, every content which might be interesting to somebody. And then use social media and use the mobile phone as the pinpoints to throw out those things. But don't link on Facebook all the time, because just imagine how Facebook sees that. So you bring a post, you have a very good, cool game report article on the website, and you want to bring it to Facebook, and most of the people link it back to the website. But then Facebook says, hey, yeah, you want Jakub and Maya, who are just focusing at the moment to post something with your link, you want to bring those two to your website? Sorry, I don't like that as Facebook, I cut your reach. And that's the platform mechanism. So you have to vary with the content. You have to give the people's choice to it. Sometimes, for example, we use the game report and we end in the middle of the sentence. And we say, if you want to read more, go to our website. And then we have a link to the website because we posted this as a photo with a very cool photo from the game. So those things are really just little tactics to overcome these deficiencies on visits, because the website is also a point of sale, is where you sell your tickets, is where you sell merchandise, is where you sell content. Sometimes even if you have, I mean, I know, for example, Sport Deutschland or so, they offer volleyball on a streaming TV. It's also a point of sale to sell your subscription for the streaming and OTT product. So you have to give the choice of that. And then Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, they also have a choice, and the presentation is all for you because it's a lecture and it's a seminar, and I want to give you all the flavors of possibilities. And just the very, very important thing is, and I state that at the end, digital, and that's the challenge, digital cannot be maintained. Digital is a constant evolution, and you need to constantly reconsider. That's why you need every quarter to analyze where you are towards your goal, towards your mission, towards your vision. The way we approach it is basically every platform we choose to be part of our distribution network has a role. And I'll give you a proposal of those roles, because we want to reach as many people as possible, and we obviously want to engage with as many people as possible, so that most of the people like our posts, most of the people share it, apologies, and most of the people comment on it. So Facebook, with 1.2 million people, is a highlight channel. Many clubs we see posting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times on match day on Facebook. The problem with that is Facebook has now a logic layer over their basic algorithms, and it analyzes your posting frequency and measures it against the engagement of your posts. So if you have 10 posts through the day, let's say in the morning you sensibilize saying match day, then you say 5 hours to tip off, 3 hours to tip off, we can't wait, 2 hours, you make a picture of the dressing room, how everything is nicely up, and saying, well, changing room is ready, all looks great. And nobody engages with post 2 and 3, nobody likes it, and nobody shares it. By the afternoon, when the match starts, you don't have any more reach. Because Facebook said, sorry, you're spamming your audience, nobody interests, so nobody engages with your content, you can't be seen. So be selective and only put highlights on Facebook. Highlights you like to see. Maximum, on non-match days, a maximum of 3 posts, 2 to 3 posts on non-match days. On match day, maximum 4. And then I see some of the heads already moving because obviously you've got so much content on match days. Be selective. Select the best. Select the ones you like because they will be liked because you are a fan of your club, because you represent the club, so you like what you're doing. So basically, if you like it, if you are convinced, then the fans will like it. It's as simple as that often. Twitter, very often in use, sometimes very frustrating for people, but this is the live news. Let's say on posting 3 on Facebook, you say, the match begins, we stop here, we see you at the end of the game, enjoy the game, that's sort of maybe post 3. If you want to follow the game live, go to Twitter. We offer you a full Twitter evolution of the game. Yeah? All the sets, all the scores, follow it on Twitter. And immediately you will see a lot of people, because sometimes the Facebook community is just like a sheep herd. They are like following. And go to the next platform and follow you on Twitter, because they know you told them there will be nothing happening on Facebook anymore, and everything and all the action will happen on Twitter. And then on Twitter you can tell them, look at the best sets, first set pictures on Instagram, and you give them the direction to Instagram. Use Twitter as a junction. Twitter has no algorithms. The problem of Twitter is there's just so many news coming in. It's just like a news overflow on a constant. So there, just be part of that constant wave and stipulate it. Instagram is entertainment. Any one of you think why it's entertainment? Not a problem. Because mom and dad, grandma and granddad conquered Facebook. And our children looking for their own networks. And Instagram is there at the moment, place to go. So Instagram is entertaining a 15 to 35-year-old audience. My daughter is 13, but she pretended to be 15 because she wanted to be on Instagram. And I allow her, because Instagram is so easy and so positive that you can, even if you have a little bit of downside, you had a bad mark in school or whatever, you can gain a little bit confidence by seeing what your friend's doing, by the pictures, because it's all about pictures and videos. And you can select what is chosen for. So mom and dad, grandma and granddad are on Facebook. And I warn you, because my dad, and I told that Maya yesterday evening, my dad, for example, if somebody friends me on Facebook, the next day he's getting an invitation from my dad. Because he says, who's a friend of Mario is a friend of mine. Because he explores Facebook completely different than we do. There's no boundaries in our parents. So Maya, it's like her parents moving together. It's just naturally. It just happens. And today, the world is really changing. Yeah? Our parents grow it very differently. And sometimes I must warn my dad, saying, Dad, yeah, these are really strangers, and you shouldn't know, and you shouldn't. Oh, I don't know, I don't mind, I like it. It's just, they see how our children, because they spend time with their grandchildren, and they see it. But they also allow the grandchildren to have their space on Instagram, and don't put a Facebook a profile on there. So what I'm trying to say is, the older a platform gets, And that's something, not to warn you, but it's just natural. The older we get, the less interactive we get. Yeah? We go to our communities, we go to friends, families, that's where we are. So in 5 years or in 10 years from now, Facebook will still be around. Media, especially in Germany, will always write Facebook going down, Facebook going out. Facebook won't. Because Facebook understands the users. They only take the data of the users. When Facebook became violent, when Facebook became kind of racism in 2014, where a lot of bad messages were out there, when we lost the game, when people were harassed, when people were traumatically pushed, what did they invent? Emojis. And now we're all using emojis. And it's fine, and it's less harassing, and it's less problematic. So these platforms know the user behavior. And what's happening in the technology behind is what you see here. They're becoming solar systems. So Mark Zuckerberg creates a solar system. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they all belong to Mark Zuckerberg. So Facebook is for the olders, Instagram is for the youngers, and WhatsApp is for the chatters. That's his mentality. So what I need to offer that these people stay with me is convenience. So you see now on your Facebook app a marketplace. So now we can shop and sell our things on Facebook Marketplace. You see a dating functionality that we can date because Facebook says we're good. Yeah? We bring people together, we link people together, and it's all about our convenience. That the time we spend on those social platforms is as long as possible. That's what Mark Zuckerberg wants to give us. As much convenience, as much choice, as much as possible. And because he knows we love sports, that's why he starts to invest into sports rights, because it's part of our convenience. And the earlier we approach it, like I mentioned, the better it is for the sport to be part of it. So on the other hand, we have Alphabet. Alphabet is the owner of Google, and Google believed to own the internet because when we use it at work, we use Google search because we get the best results. So Google also has YouTube, Google also has Google+. So they have a majority of networks. And behind that, basically, you have it's like Star Wars. Yeah, we're watching Star Wars, and we have the good side, which Mark Zuckerberg thinks he is the good one. And then you have the dark side, which is Google for Mark Zuckerberg, and the other way around for the others. So there's huge power, technology battle behind for our time, for our attention. And we should choose when we select the platforms that we have presence on all of those platforms, because that allows us to really be independent of how this technology war ends, but we are there. But the user behavior is, if you watch a video, you don't press like, you don't comment, because you're watching, so you can't multitask, especially men, they can't do it very good anyway. And if you watch a picture, you like and comment. So you see that the content you distribute, so the more video you post on your social platforms, the less people engage with it because people watch it, but they don't engage with it. So you have to have a natural mix of content on your platforms when you distribute it to appreciate basically the platform's logics around it. So sometimes, and that's why I also lost a bit of hair, is I'm a digital psychologist. I try to predict what the user will do because it is kind of psychologic what we're doing in digital. So video is about the archive. And overall, you create these digital cycles. I'm not spending a lot or a ton of time into it because I really want to open up for Q&A, and I want the Eagles perspective, which I try to set the floor for Gael, which then goes into really a club determination and how online helps offline and how the total vision conclusion comes in. That's really for you then as the clubs to really take a big benefit. So I try to set the floor for the opportunity. But it's everything. So you post something, you analyze it, you see what you measured. Did I reach more? Did I reach less? Did the win impact my posting? Did I lose impact my posting? It's a digital life cycle. And yes, a media officer can spend 7 days a week on digital. So be focused, be determined, don't be everywhere. Focus on 2 or 3 platforms, optimize those, and really engage with those. So here, this is sort of the summary of what I did from the previous slide. So Facebook is the majority of all users. It's the algorithm depending, so therefore I only post highlights. Instagram is for the younger audience. And the younger audience, they don't want a formal game report. Yeah, they want to be entertained. They want short, they want quick, and they want their messages being part of it. Twitter is the newsroom, and YouTube is the video archive. So then many of you, because it's a European-wide competition and the Champions League obviously creates awareness around Europe, is obviously some clubs, bigger clubs, they might have an international agenda, an international vision to grow their audience abroad. Because a Greek Champions League competitor or a Champions League club signed a Serbian player, like Alexander Okolic going to PAOK, for example. It's natural that you transfer. So now PAOK might be interested to attract a Serbian community of Alexander Okolic. So when you do that in your international approach, don't forget that you also compete with the local clubs about the fans and about their attention. So therefore, we usually start creating awareness through the player, use the player as brand ambassador, and use the player to tone the voice, to message the games, and also look whether the broadcast is also competitive to others, so you don't sort of overlay and you don't compete with the overlay, so you try to really have a working relationship with your clubs on the other side. Communicate regularly, ideally in the language of the target audience. Look after the cultures, because it's often forgotten that cultural marketing is very important. And I give you an example out of football, which I know really well. So Manchester United, Real Madrid, FC Bayern, Paris Saint-Germain, just to name 4, probably Juventus, 5 out of the top leagues. They all are global football clubs, no doubt. Yeah? Champions League, the broadcasters broadcast it to every angle of the world. So now we take a look back and go into the fan perspective. And obviously Indonesia is a very big football market for many European competitions. Our database, the Result Sports database, which is an in-house database, we analyze the users' fan behaviors. We know that one 25-year-old male Indonesian football fan follows 7 European football clubs. 5 I already named. Yeah. So he follows 7 clubs, and all of their clubs winning, and all of their clubs winning titles. So differentiation is the key. What makes me, my club, unique? Where do I stand out? Where do I reach out? That's where a real key factor is. And then in Mexico, those 5 clubs named earlier are followed by a 25-year-old male Mexican. And he follows also these clubs. But the difference between an Indonesian football fan and a Mexican football fan is the following. An Indonesian football fan is excited about the goal, what's happening, the goal scored. He will like the goals scored. A Mexican football fan, he's not interested in the goal. He wants to see the build-up, how this goal arrived. Left wing, cross coming in, overhead score. He wants to understand the system played on the pitch. Because football is part of the Mexican culture, they know more about it, and Indonesia is not a real footballing country, so they are just happy with the goal. Same aspect, but 2 different cultures and 2 different needs. And we have the same in Europe. Yeah? Some might like the gameplay, some might just see Maya blocking a middle block out of the way. So it's just the interest, and it's a different content which you have to play out, because it's cultures. It's really the cultures which are needed in the aspect of it. So don't underestimate. And if you want to attract volleyball to as many as possible, you have to look into those cultures. You have countries in Europe loving volleyball, yeah, to the beats. And you have countries in Europe where volleyball is competitive, sort of trying to become relevant. And we have to help each other. It is the movement, it's the volleyball family. That's the key. And some of you have great media departments, very big, evolved, yeah, with very forward thinking, and some of you struggle. So if you play against each other, a top team against a lower team, the top team can help out with content because it's still the same competition. It's still the same present. It's the same arena. Work with each other, link with each other up, help out, and create an emotional cycle for the audience, because that's the real key. To engage with the audience, yeah, you have to be engaging, you have to be communicative, and some clubs struggle here to become a little transparent. Yeah? Why do I let this player go and sign a new player? Some fans don't understand why this is happening, but sometimes if you explain it, it's very easy because they follow you. We had an example yesterday evening when we were sitting at the table. There's a football match in the second German football division cancelled today because there's no police support for the stadium because it's needed in another city. So they cancelled a football match. And at 10 o'clock at night, the away team, which was Hamburg, arrived in Dresden, and the coach recorded a mobile video saying, "I apologize. I apologize to all the fans who traveled from Hamburg already to Dresden to support us tomorrow, but the game has been cancelled without our saying, and we go back now by bus, and hopefully all the fans return home safely and fine." You can imagine what that happened on the fan base, because fans want to be acknowledged. Fans want to be appreciated because they travel near and far to support our team. So we have to look into those areas of how we get those messages to our communities in these emotional cycles. And content obviously is a key driver in that respect. So it has to be engaging, it has to be informative, it has to be active and emotional, because sports is passion, sports is emotions, and we have to transport those. And also it can be a revenue source, and each of our postings have a value. So the mobile phone is on 15 hours a day. I think me probably 17, my wife tells me not to, but it's 17. So it's the last thing I switch off. It's not the bed light, it's the last thing I switch off when I go to bed. And it's the first thing, after sort of gave a morning kiss to my wife, the first thing I take on in the morning. And then it's on. But I'm not receptive to news. It's just my user behavior. It's just how important this damn device has become in our life, that we pretend it's not there. So it's on a lot of times, but also employers do know that it's distracting from work. So you don't reach, if you post something on Facebook on weekday at 10 o'clock in the morning, you don't reach people because they are at work. And you have IT departments who have a firewall, and the firewall says no Facebook at the workplace. Yeah? In insurances, in telecommunications companies, in call centers, in bankings, you don't. And if your boss sees you 5 minutes with the mobile device, he say, you better get back to work. You say, sorry, I'm reading something about CEV now, it's really important. You can't use that excuse very often. So obviously, you need to find the times when your audience is online. You need to find the time when your audience is engaging. And this is just some recommendations when is the best time. And on weekends, one important thing, Sundays are much better than Saturdays. Because on Saturday morning, I have to do my groceries, I have to do my washing, I have to get my suits, I have to do random things around the house, around the shopping area for the family. So Sundays is a much more relaxing time to engage with me than Saturdays. And that's what we have to really focus on the weekends. And there's not really off times, but that's why I call it challenging times. Around the world, this is the time spent on social media. So if you plan an internationalization in the Philippines, you're very, very welcome, because they're using mobile and social media 4 hours a day. So their window of reaching them is much bigger. If you do it in Germany, you have 1 hour and 13 minutes where mobile and social media is synchronous in use. It's a short window. That's why it's so important to get the right times. So that's a focus. And the key area is the next slide, because that's the kind of a scary one, because this is happening in 60 seconds of digital media. So while you are posting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to reach your audience, we have another 243,000 posts at the same 60 seconds. Stand out, differentiate, be unique. Sport has an incredible luxury, which is often forgotten. Emotions, a passion, and a family of sport. So that's one lighthouse to already stand out. Yeah? So when you tweet, you have 350,000 tweets in 60 seconds. It's just huge. That's why I'm saying the more you post, the more you add to the saturation of the of the volleyball family, because we have a news overflow. When the 8 o'clock news come, I already have so much news that I can't consume anymore. And here's some scientific data. Yeah, I'm not a digital native. I'm born 1971, so I'm 47 years old. When I was 15, like my son, we have something in the brain which is pushed out, dopamine, as it's called, which is pushed out to tell us you should be interested of that. Yeah? This should interest you. So a 15-year-old in 1986 had 25 times the brain sending him a message, this could be interesting to you. Morning, get up, hungry, breakfast, first one. School, second one. So, and then school finish, homework, playing with friends, big dopamine push. Yeah? Playing with friends until evening, bedtime, push. So how do you think my 15-year-old son, how many dopamine pushes he has? How many do you think? Any thoughts? 2,000. Teachers easily say this is, in Germany it's called ADHS, so it's basically an acknowledgement deficiency problem that the child, or attention deficiency problem, that your child can't stay calm in school because it needs to do something. But it's actually the overflow of information a children's brain cannot do throughout the day. Some parents listen to the advice of the doctor and the teacher and give your children Ritalin, which is one of the prescriptions, which calms your child down, but it really calms you down. It's just helping the kids throughout this news overflow. That's the role of the 30 to 50-year-old generation at this moment in time. And it's the biggest challenge we have, because we were used to grow up traditionally, and we see how our kids grow up digitally. And we are in the middle. Sometimes we say no, because it was better in the past. Sometimes we say yes, because the others do it. And we have the boundary, and it's challenging us every day. And that's why parenthood is becoming the most challenging time for this age generation at the moment. But be positive, and especially have trust in your child. And don't trust teachers who want an answer, and don't trust doctors who want to prescribe things, because that's also, at the moment, part of their revenue model, because they get reimbursed by the social systems if they prescribe something. So really help the child. And I made this adventure in 2014. I brought my 12-year-old son and my 9-year-old daughter to Disneyland in Paris. After 20 minutes, I wanted to leave the park, because the children's marketing is so sophisticated by Disney, it's just amazing. So you go into the park, you have the first attraction, then you have the first shop, try, go in, the kids want to try it. The first shop you can overcome saying, it's just the first shop, we just entered, let's go a bit further. So there's 2 or 3 more attractions, and then there's the next shop. And the kids test it again, and the kids want to buy it. And then you say, no, let's go a bit further, and the kids say, you don't love me anymore. And what do you do as a parent? You buy it. So your headache and your stress and your levels really start. And it's probably been the worst day of my life, because it's been the most costly day of my life, because how Disney does it is just similar to Amazon, how they do it. So you see, Disney has perfectionized the offline world, and Amazon has perfectionized or optimized the online world. And it's really struggling as a parent. But we have to teach our children. We have to go through these hard days and then summarize it. So one example I took with my kids, the 8 o'clock news in Germany, I mentioned it already many times, is we sit down at 8 o'clock, the 2 older ones, and at 8:15, when the weather comes, which is often bad in Germany, well, this summer not, but often bad, we analyze how many good news did we hear and how many bad news did we hear? And very often my kids summarize saying these were bad news, very, very bad. Because I told them media wants to grab our attention. We have to be careful. There's a lot of bad things happening around the world and we have to be careful. But immediately with the next sentence, I asked my kids, how is our life? Is it as bad as the news tell us? No, Dad, it's not. Is it as challenging as we believe? No, it's not. If we work and if we have a goal, we achieve it, we can do it, we can control it. It's in our hand. It's not the media's hand. We can control our life. And that's somewhat worked, helped my kids to sort of cluster it, all these news and all these sort of inconsistency around the world and around Europe at the moment, to really help them focus around the environment, to focus on the values and cause and respect. So for you, obviously, use the players, and these are just some examples. Yeah, these are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands followers, often much more than you have. And the players are somehow smart, because I watched some of the clubs being around here. Not many of you have the blue hook on Facebook or on Twitter or being verified on Instagram. And somehow these players are so smart and are all verified and grow. So we try with Maya and Jakob really to help you, and we try to create a list after that event, and through Maya feed it back and to see to get your profiles also verified, because it shows that you're credible, that it's the official account. And especially in many areas around the world, we see many copies and imposter accounts who are using your logos, who are using your photos, and we really try to help you create a quality of a volleyball family in Europe on that. Don't forget to monitor. Platforms behavior change, algorithms change, reach changes. Don't forget the audience, yeah, this cultural marketing thing I mentioned. And probably don't forget the content changes. Yeah? You win and you lose, or you lose and you win, like Roma did with Barcelona. And the content changed dramatically. And don't forget where you've been last week. Always look forward to achieve your goals. So what we've analyzed is for you just to assist is basically, I'll flick quickly through. So status and events, even if you change your profile picture, your cover photos, Facebook determines this as a posting. Even though you hide it right away, but then Facebook sees it as a posting and you don't have engagement on it. So try not to change your cover photo, your headline all the time. Videos get the biggest reach, but not a lot of engagement. I already mentioned that. This is just to summarize basically the objective. And photos obviously is the standard of use of everybody. And internally, if you go for monitoring, everybody needs different data sets. Yeah? The different data sets is merchandising and ticketing wants to know how many page impressions did I have? How often is this person visiting me? Because even though you don't know the person, but you know the physical layer of the machine or the device he uses, you always can identify this is always the same person. You want to see, is it geographically located next to my shop, next to my organization, and how often or how long does he stay? So for marketing and sales, it's the price of the product or the sponsorship, how many reach, how many platforms, the sponsorship fit, and the holistic matching fit. These obviously should stand out. Those are the key areas. And for the media and communications department, the objective is really to look into reach and then to look into interactions or engagement. So I'm already running a bit late, but hopefully I can have 10, 15 minutes more to complete it, because I think it's really important to close it off, because now we're coming to the part where we try to earn money on it. So this is the area which can be monetized. We have a mobile app and social media channel. We're using the platforms. You can see here, Konami is sponsoring. So sponsors want to be integrated somewhere in the content. We have done this, for example, the team lineup on Red Star Belgrade versus Salzburg for Salzburg. And the sponsor is willing to pay for Salzburg content, let's say about 2,000 euros for each lineup to present. I might understand in volleyball, we might not get that huge reach, but if you can sell it for 400 or 500 euros per match day, you can come throughout the season through a really significant value. on that. Press conferences of the coaches, statistics, boring statistics become suddenly a revenue generator because people are interested in statistics. And the master of digital monetization is Manchester City. They literally market everything. So you can see SAP presenting event statistics, EA presents the man of the match, the player of the month by Etihad Airways, press conferences. Every digital content they produce, they play out, has a commercial partner. And every commercial partner pays at least a 6-digit or 7-digit figure per season. Try to create a content catalog. And this is the content which comes regularly throughout the season, multiple times, especially also for CEV competitions, for the Champions League competition. Pan-European companies are looking for those kind of presences to be present, to show their connection to it. We understand that there's a lot of challenges how to calculate it, and we have focused that over the last 2 years a lot, because the classical approach is obviously everything classical, and you do is always a cost per mil, CPM, or in German, Tausender Kontaktpreis. But when you sell a sponsorship, an advertorial in your game magazine, and you tell the sponsor this has been published 5,000 times, you never know that it's read 5,000 times. Because some of the matchday programs you have to throw away, some of the matchday programs are left there, some of them are torn apart and used as cheering stuff around in the arena. With digital, you can ensure that you reach, because every click can be measured. Every single piece can be measured. And what you need to do is obviously focus on it, have a little resource looking into it, sales and marketing doing it, and also obviously creating the knowledge around. The positive outcome, you see the red has changed to a green. The media and communications department can grow, can buy better software, can buy camera, can buy infrastructure, and that's the goal. So last part, and this will be a very quick part, because how do I get the digital audience now into the arena? It's not quick, because it is psychology, and it's because of the movement. So I need to create the vision. I need to execute the vision. This is sort of the areas which I work on, and you see at the bottom end really the digital club media part. And I have impact on it, and one impact is obviously external media. They write all about it. Ticket prices increased by 20% at the start of the season. It's always sort of telling us as a fan, oh wow, it's becoming more expensive to go to our games. But we have to counter it. We have to give the reason. We have to tell why we've done it. And then obviously, sometimes we're just so depending on how these 6 people on the court function. Yeah? Are they winning? Are they losing? What role do they play? Do they show, is their chest out and they're full of stamina and show of confidence? Or are they already put their heads down and suffer defeat? So those things we obviously have to consider when we post out the message to the audience. So key attribute for fans, which they want to have. Obviously, social media is a, how would say, it's like, it's a shining cinema. It's a lighthouse. It's a positive area. We go to Mallorca on a beach, sorry, our hotel. Around our hotel, there are cranes, there's construction, it's noisy, it's terrible. But we find one place with the selfie, with the beach in the back, and we make it, and we show on social media, it's been nice. Such a brilliant vacation we had, and we come back, but that's social media, kind of. But if we tell our fans, next week we're gonna win, and then we lost again, and then next week we're gonna win, and we lost again, and next week we're gonna win, they will lose hope in us. We have to explain, we have to be transparent, that's what I'm trying to say. We have to socialize, yeah? People want to stand out, and Matthias knows, and every time I have workshops with the clubs, when you post something on Facebook, the first 2-3 comments out of 10, you always know. It's always the same people. And that's the people, these are your ambassadors. These are the people you already have fully convinced that they are yours. So how to transport to them, give them a little token, understanding their communities. Do they have 1,000 friends on Facebook? Do they have 2,000 fans on Facebook? Do they have maybe 4,000 fans on Facebook or friends? then they may be even an influencer for you. And you invite them to a press conference because they already are so yours, they are already so dedicated waiting for your content that they're becoming an influencer to their friends, and if they have a bigger audience. So analyze it, create a nice atmosphere. Convenience, I already mentioned a lot, be recognized and focus on service and value. And one thing I really, really urge you not to do. Don't go out every week and say discount, 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 discount here, discount there, flock for free, throw you in, bundle in. Don't do it. Because if you do it regularly, fans will only wait for your offers and will not buy the product when it's at the high price. They always want reduced price. And your margins will suffer and your revenue will suffer. So try to be flexible. Like I said, if you win, immediately go with the ticketing post and saying, grab your seat. Yeah, go to your favorite courtside seat. Take that opportunity. Don't work with offers because it really, really hurts it very, very hard. Berlin has done it very well. Obviously, it shows how many fans coming to the arena. Appreciate the fans. Say the word of thank you. It doesn't cost anything, but it's appreciative. Fans want to be recognized. Their effort on the stand want to be recognized. It's really a key. And the unique differentiation of volleyball compared to football, try to go after a match and speak with one of the players in football in the first divisions of your countries. You can't. They are in their own world. They are clustered around by security. They have an own entrance. They have an own exit. Make your players touchable. Handball has really optimized, the big teams in handball have really optimized it. After the match, the players go around and tee off with the first row. It's really so critical that the players have a very, very close, no touch line, really close, no barrier, I mean, really, really easy to access. It's so, so important because that's when you see it's appreciation, it's touchable. The players are so grounded, although they are big stars, but yet they've always been used to react to the fan behaviors and reach out to the fans because they want to know it. And it's really the key. And when you post messages on match days, transport your excellent event characteristics, the players. Don't show a picture match day with a half-empty block. The block's got to be full. That people see the message you transport is the arena is full, the atmosphere is bustling, it's an entertainment time, it's going to be 2-3 hours of fun. That's what you need to create on digital, in your digital perspective, to get out to it. And why I say online is key is the number here I want to show you as the last slide. So you see, this is here, 75% have purchased products online at any given time of all online users. Three quarters of the world population have purchased online. Make your products, tickets, merchandising accessible. Make it appreciative, make it nice. And on mobile, don't put your entire fan shop in the mobile device. Put the top 5, the top 10 sellers into the mobile device because people don't scroll that deep. So as parting words, work with fans, work with fan clubs, work with city and the city council to really evolve the communication. Signboards out of home signage is sometimes very, very costly and it's sometimes bartered in sponsorship deals, then use it. But really emphasize the digital signboards you have. Yeah, focus on those. Yeah, build a database so you can campaign those. You can build a database of addresses, email addresses, so you can reach out to the people. Present yourself at city events. Go out to the club. Touch hands with the people offline. Bring them into the arena. Be really engaging and bundle offering with other sports clubs and stay unique in that perspective. And this is my final sentence. I thank you so much for your attention. I apologize it took a bit longer. And thank you again. Second? Q&A now. So we're doing a Q&A now. If you're not exaggerated or mind blown or bored to hell, we can do it, and then we go into the coffee break. And then after the break, I'm very much look forward to Gail's presentation on the club perspective. Hopefully he's sort of lining in, I hope so. Any questions? We thought we bore you with the first presentation. It's going to be exciting in the afternoon, so there's one in the back.
What would be your suggestions for the partner with the club to do it inside the club or to outsource the whole service?
That's a very, very good question and a very valid question. We see that very often, obviously. I will just repeat it. So what is my recommendation, whether to do the digital marketing and digital activities inside the club or to have a partner or an agency doing so? We see actually both. Very often, obviously, a young startup digital marketing activity can't afford a sponsorship, but they want to align themselves with the club and saying, we can do this service for you. And obviously, the resource problems within the club sometimes are challenging to fulfill those. Personally, I'm a very close friend that digital resides in the club. You can define processes for the agency to facilitate, assist in content preparation, assist in campaign management, but nobody else can be closer to the players, to the event, to the happening, to the visibilities, because they know the lineup, than a club person. Nobody can transport the message of the club better than a club person. And that's, for me, a very, very critical part. I would really see the involvement of it. A club representative is in that sense really much my recommendation, in-house. Any more? Then you fully deserved a coffee break. We see you back at 11. Thank you so much again for the attention.
Sorry guys, we will see you 11:30. Or Maya, how are we gonna make it? Are we gonna move it? Maya, are we gonna move the program a bit or not? So as per agenda, we will see you 11:30. Please be on time. Thank
Perfect.
you.